copy that.
Hi everybody. Today I want to talk about one of my favorite airsoft guns, and the one that's probably had the most screen time in all my videos. In the real firearms world, it's probably one of the most unassuming, yet also one of the most popular sidearms in the world right now. But what brand is considered tactical Tupperware in the firearms world was for many years the holy grail of all airsoft pistols. I'm of course talking about Glocks, and the one I have is the Elite Force Glock 19, manufactured by VFC. And I'll say right off the bat, I was excited for this thing to come out. I pre-ordered it on Black Friday in 2017, and I got it 6 months later in May 2018. In the world of airsoft, demand for Glocks has always been really high, since there was a long period of time in the 2010s where you could not get them in the US at all through normal means. And when Umarex got the official Glock license in September 2017, they were quick to capitalize on this demand. The Elite Force Glock 19 retails for a whopping $170, and some models in this lineup are even more expensive, putting this group of pistols near or at the top of all airsoft pistol prices that are currently in production. Now with all that background out of the way, let's take a closer look at the pistol itself, and see if its features justify that high price tag. Externally, the pistol is a nearly exact replica of the Glock 19 Gen 3, manufactured by VFC. The slide, barrel, slide stop, disassembly lever, and internals are all metal, and the frame, trigger, and sights are plastic, just like the real thing. In terms of size, it's a compact frame, about a solid inch shorter than an M1911, and slightly smaller than the Glock 17 as well. As you can see, the slide and grip texture have worn quite a bit on my model, but the original finish is a dark matte black, and it's absolutely stunning in my opinion. I still think it holds up now on my gun personally. There are Glock trademarks on the front of the slide, the firing chamber, the grip, and the lower frame. The frame of this pistol is polymer. However, it feels stronger than any other polymer-framed airsoft pistol out there. In my experience, compared to Novrich pistols, CZP09s, Walther PPQs, and even other airsoft Glocks like KWAs or KJWs, which are all fine airsoft pistols, all the ones I mentioned, this one has the strongest lower frame by far out of all of them. The stippling is really great, and I like the finger grooves on the Gen 3 models, which that's a personal preference, but they fit my hand really well. They're really comfortable, and the cutouts for your thumbs is also a nice touch. There's a Glock-style accessory rail on the front, and you also get an individualized serial number just behind it, just like on the real firearm. Moving back, you get a metal outer barrel, which locks into the slide in the same Browning-style short recoil tilting barrel action as the real Glock, which is an awesome touch on the airsoft model. The sights are identical to real Glock bucket-style sights, which I personally really like, and I know a lot of you, especially you firearm guys, probably don't like them very much. Luckily, these can be replaced, but I find them really usable for airsoft. Moving down, the trigger is very wide, and it's stippled across the front. About this trigger, it's one of the best stock triggers I've ever shot on any airsoft gun. The take-up's light, it breaks very cleanly, no more than 3 to 4.5 pounds I would estimate, and it resets really quickly, allowing for fast follow-up shots. It has a trigger safety, although on mine, since it's been kind of old, the spring's almost completely worn down. The slide release is metal, and it's also spring-loaded in the down position, so you can power stroke the gun when you want to if you're reloading. Moving down even more, the magazine release is plastic, and it's a bit small, but does the job just fine. Taking a look at the magazine, it has the same awesome black finish as the slide, with a giant Glock trademark on the base plate here. It holds 19 plus 1 in the chamber, 19 BBs, which can be loaded with a speed loader, either through the feed lips on the top or in the feed chute itself. To fill it with green gas, you have to pull down on the follower tab and slide the base plate off to the front to reveal a fill valve. Something to note is that WE magazines are compatible with all Elite Force Glocks, at least the 17 and 19, which I find are a lot cheaper than Elite Force magazines, and if you want to get more magazines, extra magazines, I'd buy those and save the money. So now that we've talked externals, let's take it apart and look inside. To disassemble, remove the magazine, charge the gun, pull down on the 2 disassembly levers on the front of the lower frame, and push the slide off the front. If you want to adjust your hop-up, it's clearly marked right under the chamber with a dial. You can then remove the recoil spring and barrel assembly from the slide, like so. The recoil spring is captive, which is a nice feature. It prevents it from flying across the room when you take it apart, and it's held up pretty well for me. The outer barrel is metal, and the inner barrel and hop-up assembly appear to be compatible with both Tokyo Marui and VSR hop-up parts, just like all TM airsoft Glocks. The nozzle is plastic, and for some reason it doesn't seem as beefy or well-built as other guns like my Elite Force 1911. The return springs also seem a little weak, but neither of these things has caused any issues in performance. Internally, it's a polymer-framed VFC pistol. Unlike real Glocks, it is in fact hammer-fired, not striker-fired. The hammer group is also completely interchangeable with guns like the Elite Force Walther PPQ, and I would also spec the VFC M&P9, because both of these are made by VFC. To remove it, you could punch out the body pin here on the back strap, remove the screw on top, and you can pull the entire assembly straight out the top of the frame. One point that gave me a bit of trouble was this reset sear that resets your trigger. I managed to snap it in half, taking off the slide once, and it's really difficult to replace. And keep in mind in the future, if you're ever repairing or upgrading this trigger group is a bit fragile and there's a lot of parts inside, especially when you're taking it apart. Just keep in mind about that if you're ever going to take it apart. The lower frame rails are metal, and there are metal reinforcements as well to strengthen the lower frame. This is my biggest issue with this pistol. It occurs on every airsoft pistol that has a polymer lower frame in the same style as a Glock. And the reason is, since the rails aren't continuously part of the frame, it's easier for the slide to get jammed up and caught in between the rails. And this never seems to affect the performance of the gun, but when you're breaking the pistol in, especially in the first couple hundred shots, the slide feels really rough, even when you lubricate it. And even now, you can see if I rack the slide, it tends to catch, or it won't always go into battery. And this doesn't seem to affect performance at all, but it's an interesting issue that makes it feel a little bit disconcerting at times for me. But hopefully you guys don't have that. Performance-wise, it chronos between 300 and 320 feet per second with 0.2 gram BBs after 1.5 years with stock parts. I found it to be effective to beyond 100 feet, which in my mind exceeds expectations for any airsoft pistol. Even though it's accurate, the best selling point for me is the trigger and recoil. Both in-game and when practicing at home, the light trigger and fast yet light recoil really increases your practical rate of fire and shot consistency. Overall, this is a truly excellent airsoft pistol. Whether it's worth the money is up to you. I got it for around $130 on sale, and that's worth it for me. Keep in mind that in addition to getting a really pleasantly shooting sidearm, you're also getting an officially, legally licensed Glock pistol. Elite Force offers models like the Glock 17, Glock 19X, Glock 34, and even the full-auto Glock 18C if you prefer those. They also have models that are half blowback or non-blowback CO2 models as well. At any rate, that's going to conclude this gear review. As always, my gear recommendation for today is the Surefire G2X Law Enforcement Flashlight, and my music recommendation for today is The Taurus by Joe Kramer. Thank you all very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and Happy Winter Holidays, and I'll see you all next time.